afternoon, good evening, good morning, Fabulites. I got questions for you. What opens with some of the ladies kicking up sand about Jackie and her relationship with her family, and what closes with a line being drawn in the sand about Jackie and her relationship with her family? If you guys last night's episode of Basketball Wives, you're correct. Thank you for clicking and sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. My recap and review. I'm Angela. The channel was Be Fabulous You. Y'all, I had so much to say. I got my memory only gives me 26 minutes to do this video. I was just talking up a storm. I was almost finished, but I ran out of memory because it's just, this shit just... I don't like it. That's what I was saying all night during the TV show. I'm like, I don't like this. When the TV show first started, like at the beginning when I saw the previews, I was like, Lord, I hope that at the end, because I'm just really, I'm team, I guess I'm team Jackie at this point. And is like, I hope that at the end of the show, I can still say the same thing, that she doesn't behave in a way or act out or just act crazy to the point where it blurs the lines and it gets confusing. Because I feel like as these last couple episodes have been unfolding, I've gotten more and more clarity about how I feel and how I don't feel about this shit, and what I think is right and what I don't think is right. And another thing that I heard, this is kind of off to the side, but I heard that this show they started airing episodes before they finished filming the season. So a lot of these shows, the only time that the women who are on the show have an opportunity to see what the show looks like is after the whole season has been filmed. So I kind of feel like Tammy changed her way of moving at some point during the episode vis-a-vis Jackie. And I feel like it's because she was watching what was going on in the show and she had an opinion and a feeling about it. So I guess what I'm going to try to do is just go through my notes and then leave my commentary for the end. So if I get cut off at the commentary at the end, because I guess I feel a lot about this. Yeah, I feel a lot about this. And I don't like this. You know, okay. So Evelyn has a copy of Kari's book, and Evelyn is like, well, you know, we've heard Jackie's side, and we know she's a pathological liar. And Shawnee is like, well, I just found out that Jackie had a grandchild. And then Evelyn is showing pictures of Jackie's grandson when he had experienced the burning. And I just wrote down, how do they know what Jackie has done or not done? Again, I'm going to try to keep my commentary to a minimum, but I guess that's some commentary that I just was writing stuff down. Okay, so then Ev has copies of the book, and you know, she's doing an Oprah Winfrey. You get an advance copy. You get an advance copy. So she got the emails, and then she paid to have them printed and bound, and then she's distributing them to, you know, I guess these 3 or 4 women. I don't even know. And, you know, Jen has her copy, and she's highlighted parts of the book. Okay, so then Evelyn is giving us, you know, reading from the book. She's got her glasses on and everything, and she's choking up as she reads the excerpts from the book. And she says that this confirms for her that Jackie is an even bigger monster than we thought. Now, we don't know how this thing was edited. They could have been sitting there for 3 or 4 hours or an hour or whatever. But the way it was edited, it was like one moment she's just choking up in pain for Takari because she just hurt so much for the child and her pain. And then the next minute she's joking about, haha, you better hide that book. And I want to make this comment now because well, I'm not going to even make it now because it'll come up later, I guess. Then we see Jackie and Tam walking. And Tammy says, you know, in her interview, you know, on the green screen or whatever, she's like, you know, Jackie is a part of the sisterhood. And, you know, sissies, we fight and we argue. But, you know, we come together. We got to come together because we're sisters at the end of the day. And then Shawnee joins the book unhappily. I mean, joins the walk unhappily. She's not happy to be there. She doesn't want to be there. But she's come, you know, because Tammy has asked her to come. And Tammy has asked her to come because she's like, we're sisters and we need to, you know, work this out. Jackie apologizes. I don't remember what Jackie was apologizing to Shawnee for, maybe for yelling or cussing or acting crazy or whatever. But she still goes on to check Shawnee on saying that she didn't know what to believe. And Shawnee is like, well, I don't know what to believe. When I talked to you, you still hadn't gone to see your grandchild who was burnt up. And if it was my grandchild, nobody could keep me away from, you know, nothing or nobody could keep me away from my grandchild. And then Jackie is like, well, you know, I had to work. I have to work to support, you know, my daughter. And my daughter has 2 children. Basically, this is how I heard it, that she can't support. And, you know, she's pregnant again. So are you going to support, you know, this new baby that she has? I am. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's, you know, her assertion. And Jackie also says that she's a mother scorned and tell Evelyn not to talk to my daughter. Shawnee is like, in her green screen or whatever, that she knows that Evelyn is still talking to Kari. And Tammy says that it would be a boss bitch move to give the money back to Jackie. And Jackie is like, oh, that's 3 pairs of shoes. I agree with Tammy. And I also think that, you know, human relationships are really, really funny, because what one person would do and feel confident and comfortable doing, another person might not do. So if I felt scorned in a relationship, or felt hesitant about a relationship, or nervous about how I had behaved, I might not know exactly how to make things right. Whereas somebody sitting next to me might be like, I'm scorned, I messed up, I apologize, and they might know how to make things right, because different people are different. And so I really don't know what's going on with Jackie and her daughter. And to me, it seems clear that something is wrong there. But I also know that I realized during this episode, which I hadn't thought of before, that by Jackie being pitted against her daughter, it puts her in an awkward situation, because, like, for example, me as a wife, me as a daughter, me as a friend, you're not going to pit me against my husband, because I'm always team husband. I'm always team family. I'm always team mother. There's nothing. Now, what happens behind closed doors between us is something totally different. But in public, I hope that I'm never going to be publicly disparaging anybody who is part of my family, part of my community. Now what I say behind closed doors, and I have an opinion, and I'm not afraid to share it. And I say, you know, well, I didn't think that was right, or I don't agree with that, or I don't think that's the right way to handle it. But I'm not going to say it in public. And so Jackie, is she supposed to say, well, my daughter is crazy, my daughter is how can she defend herself against allegations from her daughter other than to tear her daughter down? And we know that Jackie has issues, but I just kind of have I think it's interesting, because I guess I was like, well, she's not saying anything because it's true, or maybe it's true, or maybe parts of it are true. And maybe she's not saying anything because in order for her to say anything, she would have to tear her child down. And maybe she's not here for tearing her child down. And I have to say, I can respect that. And I can understand that. So Shawnee and Evelyn are at the restaurant. Shawnee is reporting her meeting to Evelyn, you know, and Evelyn is like, I don't talk to her daughter, which contradicts what Shawnee said in the green screen. And Evelyn also says that it seems like Tammy is drinking the Kool-Aid, meaning, you know, Jackie's Kool-Aid, or account of her experience with her daughter. And I don't think that Tammy is taking a side in the story one way or the other. Like, I believe the mother is telling the truth. I believe the daughter is telling the truth. I think that Tammy is taking the side of supporting this other mother, this grown woman, this sister friend in living her life. I know I keep going off. Okay. Shawnee is like, you know, they changed the subject. Shawnee is like, what's up with your IVF? They're talking about, Evelyn is talking about, you know, well, 3 of the eggs are fertilized, and if I have to choose between a boy and a girl, I think I would choose a girl because boys are work. And then she talking about how this place used to be popping, and she tells a story about her ex cheating on her and buying a car for somebody, then the person pulled up in the car, and, you know, the drama that was that. And then Shawnee tells a story about her BlackBerry getting switched with her husband's BlackBerry, and then her phone was blowing up, and then when she finds finally looked at it, she saw that it was text messages or messages coming in from women talking about, or a woman talking about, ooh, last night you did the shit, it was woo-hoo-hoo. And so that she flattened all 4 of his tires, plus carved in the car, I cheat on my wife, probably some other stuff. And then when he got in the car and went to drive home, she was driving beside him, blowing the horn to make sure that folks saw. So, I guess, they're just, bonding over, cheating and talking about IVF. But, it is interesting because I think we don't really hear them talk. And maybe I'm forgetting, but do they talk about much more other than Jackie usually? Because it kind of caught my attention that they were talking about something else. But maybe they always talk about other stuff. I don't know. And then we see Jev, Ev, and Shawnee in Malaysia and Hazel. And Malaysia is like, ha, ha, ha. I walked up to this lady and asked if I looked like a prostitute. Malaysia is bawdy, and she was serving up bawdy, in her swimsuit, her bikini, and her cover-up, which didn't cover up nothing. But she young, she cute, she in Miami. But I do agree, sometimes if you have to ask if you look like a prostitute, like Shawnee said in her interview, it might be a sign that you look like a prostitute. But sometimes you could just be self-conscious about stuff. Like when I put colored lipsticks on some women who are not accustomed to wearing highly saturated colors, they can feel very self-conscious. Like, oh my God, the first thing you see is my lips. That's how I felt the first time that I wore color on my lips. Like, oh my gosh, it's like my lips walk into the room first. You have to get used to certain things. But anyway, Shawnee asked, are we having a group dinner for our final night here? And Evelyn is like, yeah, we can have group dinner. I'll just be quiet. And Malaysia is like, well, I think that's passive, especially since you've been picking at the woman and picking at the woman and picking at the woman. And Evelyn is like, well, I think you're enabling her. And Malaysia is like, she needs to run her family. We need to respect her space to run her family. And we need to just love and support her as a friend. And Evelyn is like, I will never love and support her. This is where on the last video I had a whole bunch of commentary, but I'm not going to say anything right now. Then we see Jen and Ev and Tam, and Jennifer has had, I think she said 3 or 4 cups of champagne. And somebody's like, girl, you drank a whole bottle of champagne. And Jen is like, no, it's like 4 cups. It's 4 glasses and a bottle, and I've only had 3. And Tam in the green screen is like, that's basically a whole bottle of champagne. And it's like daytime when they get out the car, so I guess she probably like the queen. Didn't we just hear the other day that the queen starts her morning with a cocktail, then has an afternoon cocktail, then she has an evening cocktail, then a before bed cocktail? So that's probably how Jen is living, right? I don't drink, so I don't know nothing about all of that. But, and they're going shopping. And then Evelyn is like, to Tam, there is nothing that you can do to convince me that Jackie is a good person. I think that's really immature. That's all I'm going to say. I just think that that's really immature. And, I think that's really immature. Okay, so then we see Malaysia, Hazel, and Jackie. They're at the water playing. We get some, shots from behind that look like they could be from a men's magazine of them on the surfboards or whatever. Jackie has her cover up on. They having a good time. But Malaysia does talk to Jackie about her encounter earlier with Ev. Then we see Jennifer, Ev, and Tam. And Jennifer is like, well, how do you feel about Takari? And Tammy is like, well, I don't really have any feelings because it's not my business. I don't really know her daughter, and I don't really know the truth. The two of them, each of them knows the truth. They're the only ones that know what happened. And Jennifer says in her interview, well, I'm not going to tell Tammy that I have Takari's book because Tam is too close to Jackie, and Jackie is unpredictable. And it was kind of like at that moment that I'm kind of like, you're a grown-ass woman. And when you are sneaking around doing stuff, Evelyn said earlier, hide the book. Don't let Jackie see that you have it. I'm not going to tell Tammy that I have the book. It's sort of like, I feel like when you're a grown woman, and they're all theoretically grown women, when you're if I have to sneak around and hide and do something, then there's some things that if I'm sneaking around and hiding and doing them, I don't have any business doing them. If I can't say what I need to say to you, to your face, then I probably don't need to be saying that to somebody else about you. It's a couple occasions where I might need some support or counseling or whatever. But in general, if I gotta hide and tee-hee-hee about this, if you're a grown-ass woman, yes, I have the book, I read it, and what? What you gonna do? Yes, this is what I think, this is how I feel, this is my opinion, and I'm grown, and I said what I said. You don't have to hide. So I didn't like that. Okay, so Jennifer, Malaysia, and Hazel. And Hazel is like, I have questions for Jackie. And Malaysia in her interview is like, now, Hazel, you done spent the whole day with Jackie and you didn't ask her anything. And now you have questions. Now, she did mention, Hazel, that her mother and older sister have tension. So she could kind of relate to she could relate to some of what's going on between Jackie and her oldest daughter. Then Tammy and Jackie come in, and I just felt like during this whole episode, I had a lot of respect and appreciation for both Tammy and Malaysia. And it started last episode or before for being a support for this other woman. Okay, so Malaysia takes Jackie to the bathroom and she tells Jackie about the advanced copy of Takari's book that's floating around. And then meanwhile, back at the table, Tammy finds out that Eb has been circulating the book. And then all of a sudden I was thinking about Drea first season, because I think I read it someplace here recently, and that they had done some research on Drea and pulled up this story of the fact that she didn't have custody of her son, and that her mother, Drea's mother, had custody of the son or whatever. And then they shamed her on TV and called her a bad mother and were trying to check her about something about which they knew nothing about and was really, quite frankly, none of their business. And I think that Jackie led the charge there. So I hope that if that is the case, or if she was involved with that she has a whole nother take on that, and that if she hasn't already apologized to that woman for that she apologizes to her, and that she has a whole different take on family matters and what's your business and what's not your business. Because I certainly do. Well, I think when it came out the first season, now this is taking it to another level, but it's kind of like the seed of this same type of situation. And then Jackie is basically coming to the table from the bathroom with Malaysia, and her plan is just to confront it. So she says to Hazel, you quiet, you got something to say. And Hazel is like, well, my mom and my older sister have issues, blah, 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 blah. Jackie is like, I love my daughter. I'm sick of explaining stuff. I don't owe anyone an explanation. And then Jackie is basically like, who got next? Jen is like, well, I read the first 50 pages. And Takari said that her first suicide letter she wrote when she was 11. And, I don't remember what Jackie said to that, but Jackie basically addressed that issue. Basically, the party line is that you don't know my daughter. You didn't raise my daughter. You don't have a relationship with my daughter. And I have a history and a context with my daughter. And it's none of your damn business. What else? And then Jennifer says to Evelyn, well, you're quiet. Do you have something to say? And Evelyn is like, no. But she had a lot to say to the green screen. She has a lot of comments to make about Jackie when Jackie's not around. So you don't have anything to say? But anyway, Jackie apologizes to Ev. Ev is basically non-responsive at first. And then she says that she asserts what she said before. I guess that she wants to be around good mothers. She's at the stage in her life where she doesn't want to be around, BS. And then they get into some back and forth. And then Evelyn is like, give me my $3,500 back. Now, what I said when I got cut off from my thing in terms of this $3,500 is that I would have definitely given that woman that $3,500. Not back because she didn't give it to me, but I would have given it to her because I don't want you to have, don't say anything to me or anybody about my family. You're not in it. You don't need to be in it. Thank you, but no thanks, And if I had made a donation to someone because I felt that they were in need and because it was coming from my heart, I'm never going to accept you giving me money back because I made that donation to that child because I felt that that child needed it. So you don't owe me anything. So for Evelyn to say, give me my $3,500 back, It's not cute to me. I don't like it. Then we see Tammy and Malaysia, and they're leaving with Jackie. Because Jackie is basically like, you know, I've said what I had to say. This is not going to be there's nowhere productive that we can go with this. I'm going to leave. I'm going to excuse myself. Yes, Jackie. Yes. And then they're standing outside talking. Shawnee is at the table, and she's like, we're leaving. Which, I don't know if that was like a producer-driven thing. Because it seemed like once they left, don't y'all want to stay and have a good time and enjoy your dinner? But anyway, they leave, and then Shawnee, Jen, Evelyn, and Hazel, you know, they all leave, and the groups meet up outside. And Shawnee is like, you know, overhears what Jackie is part of what Jackie is saying to someone to Tammy or Malaysia. And Shawnee is like, what did you say? And Jackie is like, nothing. And, you know, as my friend, let it be. We are friends, right? And then Shawnee is like, I think so. I don't know. And I kind of feel like, well, it's very clear to me. I mean, I wouldn't consider Shawnee a friend worth a damn, because if you don't, like she said, if you don't know me by now, you will never ever. Yeah, I don't consider Shawnee a friend. I feel like Malaysia and Tammy, to me, they really stepped up and behaved in a very friendship manner. Not in a way that where they took sides and said, Jackie's story is true and I believe Jackie, or this child's story is true, or Takari is a liar and Jackie is telling the truth. But just, I don't know, but I know that I'm here for Jackie. And I really respected and appreciated that. Yeah, I probably said a whole lot more, but I feel like, yeah, it's a lot more that I could say about this, but I said a lot more, when I was doing my recording, the last one that I got cut off because I was saying a bunch, but that was Basketball Wives. I'm really glad at how Jackie carried herself. I feel like the trajectory of the last few episodes, at least, Jackie has been more and more coherent and more clear to me. And I feel like in Tammy and Malaysia have been more and more clearly, unambiguously supportive of Jackie as a human being. I don't think it's cool or cute to humiliate somebody in public or try to humiliate and drag somebody in public at all. I don't know. I mean, I do know it's a lot, and I could probably go on and on about it, but I've done the review and the recap. I am definitely and I feel like not only did Jackie leave that table, but, you know, my mother was like, well, I wouldn't want to be friends with Shawnee or be on the show anymore after that. And I could kind of see that, like, where you would be like, hey, you know, it's been good while it's lasted. Peace. You know, y'all be well. I hope your show does well. But all of that, making light of stuff that is very heavy. And then I feel like as mothers, and just as people, none of us is perfect. So, like, to pick at somebody and just, it's not cool. You know, like, and I feel like clearly, it's clear to me through the TV, it seemed like Jackie has some issues. And so I don't know if that's what it seems like to them in person, but it seemed like to kick the person who, like, if somebody is like, if you know somebody has emotional issues, to harass them, it's like cruelty to me. So it's kind of like, y'all know this woman has whatever issues she has, probably y'all can tell in person. So I would just be kind and distant. You know, you don't have to be all at her house, and you can be friendly without being friends. You can be, but anyway. So I felt like Jackie, between Tammy and Malaysia and Jackie, I feel like they really made some very coherent, very relevant points to me. What do you think? You know, how are you processing all of this? Yeah. It's kind of weird because I had already said everything that I had to say. So to say it again, it's kind of weird. But I thought I was doing Daytime Divas. I forgot that went off. So I don't know what comes on tonight. Does anything come on tonight that I'm watching? I don't know what my next reviews are, but hopefully we should be getting that review of Detroit up soon, whatever we're going to do collaboratively, me and poetry over at My Twisted Life of Poetry. Be you, be fabulous, you. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and being here. We're working on 150 subscribers. Are you a subscriber? Subscribe. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Peace.